Hi everyone, I'm Diana and this is Dragonfly DIY. Today I'm going to be taking you on a tour through my home. I'm going to show you the befores and the current progress that I've made on this house in the 10 years that I've been here. And I actually just really started renovating in the last about 5 or 6 years. So I've gotten quite a bit done, and I'm going to show you that. There's a lot that you won't see today, and I have lots of future projects. If you like today's video, please give me a thumbs up. And also, I would love a comment on what you think, and please consider subscribing. This is my 1962 brick bungalow. I just got a brand new door. Okay, it's been about a year and I hadn't painted it yet when I made this video. This is when you walk in, you see this antique buffet. I got this on Facebook Marketplace. It was very tall, and so as you can see, it's much taller than the couch. So I cut the legs down so that it would be the same height as the couch, and of course did a nice little paint job on it. And there's the legs. They had these neat casters that I wished I wouldn't have had to cut off, but this is what it turned out like. I got new knobs for it. The knobs are from Hobby Lobby, and painted it and restained the top. This is my fireplace wall. When I originally moved in, it didn't have anything on the sides. That people had put some shelves, but they didn't really fit in there, and that really bothered me. So we built these shelves, and this was the original design with some turquoise blue in the background, white shelves. And then I painted it this color. This color is called Wythe Blue by Benjamin Moore. Wythe Blue looks pretty sage green to me, but I love the color. I think it's gorgeous. And not long ago I painted the shelves themselves so that they kind of blended in more with the wall, and I love that look. The living room is quite small. It's just that little tiny area right there. So I have my L-shaped couch and my dad chair. We'll talk more about the dad chair later. I made this mantle myself, and I stained it the same color as the top of the buffet. And I have found, as many others have on other channels, that one color of stain just doesn't quite do the trick. I don't know why, but it just never quite is the right color. So I combine two stain colors here. I combine early American and dark walnut together to make this color, and it's just the perfect color. This is, if you turn around and look back at my entryway, there is the other side of the unpainted door, and little peg rack that I put for keys. Putting the buffet here like this kind of gave it some separation, so I have a little bit of an entryway, and I love this. It is my kind of hall tree, I guess you can call it. I had it built when I first moved in, and it was white when I first moved in, and of course this is more what it usually looks like, kind of cluttered with coats, especially since we live in a cold weather area. It is warm weather right now, so it's looking a little bit less cluttered. And I painted it the same Wythe Blue green color by Benjamin Moore. I'll talk a little bit more about the renovation, the major renovation that I did in my kitchen when we get in there, but this is a pass-through that we opened up. And I'm not always a fan of pass-throughs, but it's so nice to have the kitchen a little bit more open to the front. At first we didn't think we were going to do it because of this pipe right here, which turned out to be a pipe that vents the other pipes, so we were able to vent it out under the sink, and this is how it turned out. This was a while back. I had it decorated this way, kind of farmhousey. I did add some shiplap down below, And this is a recent makeover that I just did with a little gallery wall, which I'll actually put in a later video, the process, but the lights are just fantastic that I got from for above there, so you'll see that in the other video. Swinging around, this is the dining room. I do have a wall of shiplap on the side, and then the rest of the kitchen at this point was painted the white, blue, green color. This is the original color that I had throughout the entire house. I think it was called antique gold, if I'm not mistaken, and the previous owners painted it that color, and it's just so much fresher, this color. This is an IKEA table that I got, and it's not my favorite table. I'd like something a little bit more beautiful, but the fit, you can't deny, it just fits in that spot so well. This is my shiplap wall, and I trimmed out that window in kind of a craftsman style, I guess it is, and this is a really pretty plate rack I actually got at IKEA. My vacuum is hanging there. It's not my favorite place to have my vacuum, and I have a new plan for it soon. This is my hutch, and I also had this made at the same time that I made the hall tree. So this is what it looked like. Originally, it was over in the kitchen because I needed more storage in there. The old kitchen just didn't have any storage. And it had this just temporary top for probably a couple of years, many years, until I did my kitchen renovation. I got this beautiful top at IKEA, and it wasn't very expensive, but it really is a beautiful pattern and color, and it just adds a lot to this hutch. I'm very seriously considering painting the hutch because it's white like my cabinets, but it doesn't really match my cabinets, so I think it would look good. This is a wall that I had in my kitchen that just didn't have anything on it at all. It was just the window. Originally, I thought about putting some glass sliders there, but instead I added, here's what it looked like before. It was not functional. I had added a little shelf above for fun, but this is where I had my microwave. This is awful, and it really was like this for quite a long time. And so this is just so much more functional. This is the pantry that I added. It houses a lot more than it used to. I did have a small pantry over here, as you can see over there on the right, with a wall oven and some other small cupboards, but this pantry wall is just so much more useful. This wall oven was original 1962 to the house, so we tore it out, and the new setup is so much more functional. This was kind of what the hallway looked like. You can see the tile very well here and what it looked like before. And this is kind of the after, with the fridge a little bit more built in and a bigger pantry. This is the wall I call my sink wall. It's not super different right there, except that you can see that there was a peninsula that came out on the right, and it housed the cooktop on the top. And it also had cabinets that didn't go all the way up to the ceiling, so I was always trying to figure out a way to decorate them, but it was always super oily dust on the top of there, and the peninsula just cut off the flow from the kitchen to the dining room. This was the entire kitchen. This L shape was pretty much the entire kitchen and just about all the storage I had in the whole kitchen, so it felt good, very good to rip it out and get rid of it, and that's when we opened up that pass-through. This was the state of it for a long time. Didn't get the backsplash up for a very long time, but I did like that you could see right through to the living room and see what was going on out there. I added a penny tile backsplash, and that's what it looks like now. Now we'll talk a little bit about these floors. I did have in part of the house, and most of the house, I had a oak floor. This is the oak floor that I had, and it was extremely squeaky, very squeaky. Maybe some people like that. but I don't. And it also had this step up to the kitchen tile, which we found was because there were layers and layers of flooring that people had just put over the top over and over again. So there was tile, there was like a cement board underneath, and then linoleum, and then another layer of linoleum, and then it was just crazy. So we tore all the layers out, and once we got all the layers out, there was a flat floor with the subfloor to the living room and kitchen. Now, here's another shot of just all the layers and layers of stuff that we had. And finally we got down to this subfloor. Well, this is the subfloor actually in the living room. I did end up tearing out those oak floors, and that may not be everyone's favorite choice, but they were just so annoyingly squeaky. We finally got down into those subfloors, and they were all nailed down with nails. That's what they did back in those days in the 60s. They nailed things down, and that's what the squeaks, that was what was causing the squeaks in the subflooring. And so we went through, and every couple of inches in every row, we drilled down some deck screws and made it not squeak anymore. This is where we tore up some places in the floor, and we actually put some venting, moved some venting. The person that was helping me with the floor got very extra, and we decided to paint this waterproof paint on the bottom, kind of like a Flex Seal. And then we added cork, and that made it so nice and quiet. And then we added this life-proof flooring from Home Depot. It's in a color called Greystone Oak, which unfortunately they don't sell anymore. So I'm not able to put it in my bedrooms, which I never did do. But we put this down ourselves. It wasn't very hard. And it's something that you can definitely learn to do on your own. This was the kind that you have to cut with a saw. We couldn't score it with a utility knife. We did have to put it down or cut each piece with a saw or a jigsaw in the crazy little corners. And then we got to these spots right by each door in the hallway, and it's one of those things where people are helping you. Oh, we'll come back and finish this another day. And then 6 months go by and you're living with your floors like that. But finally, we did get the floors done. I love this color for so many reasons, especially because it doesn't show dirt. And this is the transition between the living room and the dining room, no step up. As much as I love this area of the kitchen, that is not where I wanted to have my microwave. It's on the countertop. That's not ideal. It's not what I wanted. And this was originally what I had built for the microwave. That was my idea. Well, my very original idea was to have it in the pantry, which didn't work out for a few different reasons. So I was going to have it down here, but my 6-foot-tall son does not like bending over to get into the microwave down there. So we have the toaster oven and some cookbooks and cutting boards down there. Eventually, when my kids are gone and it's just me, I'll have my microwave down there because I'm nice and short and it doesn't bother me to have it down there at all. And it won't be up on the countertop anymore. There was nothing here, as I said before, and my cooktop was in the peninsula and the wall oven was in the wall by the fridge. And so now I have this little stove area that I've created with some more penny tile and a nice range hood. My old stove did not, my cooktop, it had a vent up in the ceiling, but it didn't work. And I hung my red pans here, and it's just 8 feet of continuous counter space that I did not have. I think I had a 2-foot square when I had my old kitchen. That was the total of the countertop. So it's just so much nicer to have all this space. I love the openness of it. My kitchen design for a long time had red in it, and this is my red ticking stripe curtains that I had for a long time. And in a future video, you're gonna see it's gonna be called Removing the Red from the Kitchen. And you'll see I just have some red touches, but they're gonna go. Now we're gonna move into the living room. This is those shelves I was talking about, how I painted them all green instead of having them white, which is such a nicer, updated look. And just some of the little vignettes that I've styled on this. This is like a desk on the bottom shelf on both sides, and then I have two upper shelves, the middle shelf. Eventually I'd like to have books going all the way across, and right now I just don't have enough pretty books to put out there, but I'm working on it. This is a building that it's called the Salt Lake Temple, and I live here in Salt Lake, so I have like a sketch of that. It's actually being renovated right now. This is the mantle that I built myself and stained, and it just adds so much depth instead of the limestone mantle that was there before. It wasn't as wide either, so I couldn't put as many Christmas decorations on it, and that's what's important. As you can see, I did this last fall, so I still have my fall decor up on the wall, but it just added so much. And I just used common board, which I'm not so sure I would do now because it does actually have a crack on one side, whereas it's sat there, it's cracked through, and maybe that's just because I didn't pre-drill my holes, probably. I just used brad nails. This right now is currently my favorite little vignette. I love the books. My daughter got those for me for different Christmases. They all come from Barnes & Noble. And I have some pillows if you want to sit on the hearth. I do love having a hearth. And as I said, I have these little desks. This is the one functional desk. To be honest, we rarely use it, but as a desk, but it is nice to have the wider shelves at the bottom. And this is my grandma's vintage, about turn of the century, maybe 1910 kitchen clock, which doesn't run. And oh, this is the Salt Lake Temple. The other one was the St. George, Utah Temple. I have these sketches of them that I bought. They're both under renovation right now. And some of my very favorite books, but as I said, I need more. I need more books. Everybody needs more books. I love finding books at the thrift store, but I also just love to get nice, pretty books from Barnes & Noble. And they do. Sometimes they make really pretty ones. I'm going to go into the bathroom right now and show you how this started out. It did have that same tile as the kitchen, laid just a little bit differently, and I just really hated this tile. It was awful. Whoever laid it didn't lay it level. And then beautiful turquoise tile from 1962 that only went about 3/4 of the way up the wall, and it had these lovely little butterflies in it. I actually thought it was adorable, and I loved the vintage feel of it, but I needed to get rid of it, so we tore this out. Now, if anyone's ever done this, you know it is quite an ordeal because there is mesh behind the tile that you have to tear out, and also the tub was cast iron, and it was a bear to get out. This is what it looked like right after the renovation. This was before I did my kitchen. I did this, I think it was 2017, something like that, and I put in some herringbone in the little niche, and the rest just a brick pattern of subway tile. And I've loved having this niche. I put it low enough so that I could take a bath and reach the stuff. And this is the tile. I love this tile. It's like a linen. It looks like linen. I'm also going to show you the stairway down to the basement. I won't show you anything in the basement, but it was a carpeted stairway. I tore out this carpet myself. It was quite interesting. Getting the carpet out wasn't too bad, but getting all the nails and staples out of the stairs took days, weeks of days getting that out. Then I painted and put stair treads down with some carpet tape. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, there's a lot more projects where that came from, so please hit the like button, give me a comment on what you thought, and consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.